Well, that was very nice of him. But hey, I've been a very loyal friend over the course of the last 9 years. I've never wavered or wobbled in my support of him, even at times when it hasn't necessarily. Pennsylvania seemed to be the absolutely key state in every way in this election. And I was really surprised and flattered that he noticed I was in the audience.
What he did was, and what he is doing is sort of what we did a few years ago. He's doing a great job. He's always been my friend for some reason. He liked me, I liked him.
Did you see the moment Nigel Farage left a UK TV host completely speechless? It's the interview everyone's talking about, and for good reason. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In a shocking turn of events, Farage managed to flip the script on a seasoned journalist, exposing media bias and defending his relationship with Trump. But what exactly did he say that stunned the host into silence?
Not much really lives up to the last 2 or 3 days. In America, I arrived late on Sunday night, and I went first to a Donald Trump rally that took place in a town called Reading in Pennsylvania.
Very highly respected, Nigel Farage.
Pennsylvania seemed to be the absolutely key state in every way in this election. And I was really surprised and flattered that he noticed I was in the audience.
The answer might surprise you. The atmosphere in the studio was electric as Nigel Farage stepped onto the set for his live TV interview. The host, armed with a strategy to corner Farage on his Trump connections, wasted no time in launching into aggressive questioning. How much of your actions are motivated by a desire to become the UK ambassador in Washington? The host demanded, clearly hoping to catch Farage off guard. But Farage wasn't about to be rattled. He maintained a calm demeanor throughout the barrage of questions, his composure a stark contrast to the host's confrontational approach. As the interview progressed, it became clear that Farage was not just deflecting attacks, but actively taking control of the narrative. In a move that surprised many viewers, Farage boldly defended his relationship with Trump. "We have to not upset Donald Trump. We have to be an ally to Donald Trump," he stated firmly, emphasizing the importance of UK-US relations. This unexpected twist left the host visibly taken aback, struggling to regain control of the conversation. As Farage continued to speak, his confidence grew. He began to turn the tables on the interviewer, redirecting the discussion towards the significance of a strong UK-US partnership. His well-timed responses left little room for counter-arguments, and the host's fidgeting and lack of direct eye contact betrayed their discomfort.
What he did was, and what he is doing is sort of what we did a few years ago. He's doing a great job. He's always been my friend for some reason. He liked me, I liked him. And he's shaking it up pretty good over there. He was the big winner of the last election.
Body language experts later noted the stark contrast between Farage's confident posture and steady gaze, and the host's increasingly flustered demeanor. It was clear that the power dynamic had shifted in Farage's favor. The climax of the interview came when Farage expertly steered the conversation away from personal attacks and towards the broader implications of UK-US relations. He presented himself as a leader, prioritizing national interests over political gamesmanship, a message that resonated with viewers concerned about international diplomacy. This exchange did more than just showcase Farage's media savvy. It highlighted his ability to engage with tough questions and present complex ideas in a relatable way. As the interview concluded, it was clear that Farage had not only survived the encounter, but had used it to strengthen his political position. The implications of this interview for British politics are significant. Farage demonstrated that he could hold his own against seasoned journalists and effectively communicate his vision for the country's future. As viewers watched this unexpected triumph of the political underdog, many were left wondering, could this mark a turning point in Farage's influence on the UK political landscape? As the dust settled from Farage's media showdown, a startling revelation emerged. Reform UK's polling numbers were climbing, and it wasn't just about Brexit anymore. What hidden frustrations are fueling this political upheaval? Nigel Farage's recent announcement of his candidacy for the general election marks a significant shift in his political strategy. It's not just a personal comeback, it's a sign of Reform UK's growing momentum. The party has been steadily gaining ground in recent elections, tapping into a well of voters voter discontent that traditional parties seem to have overlooked. Farage's leadership style stands in stark contrast to mainstream politicians like Keir Starmer. While Starmer often comes across as evasive and detached, Farage's approach is refreshingly direct. He doesn't shy away from tough questions or controversial topics. Instead, he tackles them head-on, offering straightforward answers that resonate with voters who are tired of political doublespeak. This unscripted approach is striking a chord with a growing segment of the electorate.
Well, that was very nice of him. But hey, I've been a very loyal friend over the course of the last 9 years. I've never wavered or wobbled in my support of him, even at times when it hasn't necessarily.
He was the big winner of the last election in the UK, and he's a very spectacular man.
Voter sentiment surveys reveal a deep-seated frustration with the political status quo. Many feel that traditional parties have lost touch with their concerns, focusing more on internal power struggles than on addressing the issues that matter to everyday people. Farage, on the other hand, seems to have his finger on the pulse of public opinion. He's not afraid to address topics that other leaders avoid, from immigration to economic inequality. His willingness to engage with these contentious issues makes him appear more in tune with voters' concerns than those currently in power. The contrast between Farage's direct communication style and the typical political evasiveness is stark. While many politicians dance around difficult questions, Farage meets them head-on. This approach is particularly effective in an era where voters are increasingly skeptical of polished political performances. This growing support for Farage and Reform UK isn't just about policy positions. It's a reflection of a broader frustration with current leadership. Many voters feel that Farage, despite being an opposition figure, seems to care more about their future than those actually in power. He's filling a perceived leadership vacuum in British politics, offering a vision and direction that many find lacking in the established parties. As Farage's influence continues to rise, it raises intriguing questions about the future of British politics. Could this mark the beginning of a significant shift in the political landscape, or is it a temporary reaction to current dissatisfaction? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: Nigel Farage and Reform UK are forces that can no longer be ignored in the British political arena. Nigel Farage's political resurgence isn't just a fluke, it's a symptom of a deeper shift in British politics. His direct communication style and willingness to tackle controversial issues head-on have struck a chord with voters feeling left behind by mainstream parties. As one political commentator noted, Farage's unscripted approach resonates with voters tired of scripted performances, highlighting a changing nature of political communication in the UK that values authenticity over traditional rhetoric. Hey, but what does this mean for the future of British politics? Will we see more politicians adopting Farage's confrontational style, or will the established parties find a way to reconnect with disillusioned voters? As Reform UK continues to gain ground, the political landscape is poised for potential upheaval. The question remains, is Farage's rise a temporary phenomenon or the beginning of a new era in British politics?